Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I keep trying to sing because I swear I could have been a singer in my past life. Today's video is going to be about the first murder of 2012 in the city of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. And that's the city where I live. And I remember when this case actually happened. I remember hearing about it on the news. A woman had been murdered, a body had been found, and I'm like, oh my God, another murder again, whatever. I guess I was becoming desensitized to a lot of these cases because I'm like, it just keeps happening and happening and happening and happening. So I never really looked into the case to see what the outcome was until the other day. I was looking for stories to talk about and it came up and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this. I remembered what had happened, but like I said, I didn't. But anyways, I'm going to be telling you guys about it today. So this case is about Lakhvir and Dhaliwal. And I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. But I looked it up on Google and had them say it out to me, and that's how they're saying it, so I hope it's correct. So Lakhvir was 37 and Jatinder was 41. They had been married for 12 years. They had two boys ages 8 and 9. Now, throughout their entire relationship, Jatinder was addicted to drugs. He had been addicted to drugs for the majority of his adulthood. So whatever drugs you can think of, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, ecstasy, he has done it. He was also a drug dealer, which he broke the #1 rule. If you're a drug dealer, you don't sample your own products, for this very same reason. I'm not encouraging anybody to become a drug dealer. I'm just saying these are things that I've heard throughout the years. Now, on the weekend leading up to May 28th, 2012, May 28th was a Monday. So that weekend, he had been on a drug and alcohol binge. And according to him, because Lakhvir is not here anymore to say, yes, this is what happened, whatever. According to him, she hid his drugs. His drug of choice at the time was heroin. So he was addicted to heroin. And that particular night, she had hidden his drugs. And let me go back a little bit. I don't know a whole lot about their upbringing and stuff like that, unfortunately. I don't know how they met or anything like that, which is what I would like to involve in these cases. From neighbors' perspective, she was described as a very attentive mother. She was the one that always watch the kids when they were out playing. She'd be the one that would go to school meetings, the one that would take them to their karate and their soccer or swimming classes, while he's described as just the father who sat in the garage and played loud music, got drunk with his friends. There would be cars, driving in and out, which ties in with him being a drug dealer. Now back to May 28th. According to him, she had hidden his heroin and he wanted it back, and she refused to tell him where it was. So that led into a fight. In the house that night were, Jatinder, Lakhvir, their two boys, and there was also a nephew of Lakhvir that lived there at the time. So the fight started out physical, and then he reached for the gun. They had a registered legal gun in the house that usually sat on their bedside table. And according to him, it was a gun that was used for protection, in his drug deals. And he alleges that Lakhvir was the one that picked the gun up and was pointing it at him. He also alleges that she had taken a knife, and was threatening him with it. A knife was never found at the scene. So while all of this was going on, the nephew at first tried to step in, but once he saw the gun being pulled, he decided, I'm going to run out of the house. He's scared for his life. I'm going to go call for help. But then that was the only thing said about the nephew, because help never came from him. So I don't know what happened. The 9-year-old, who was asleep at the time, heard the commotion going on. So he got up and went to his parents' room, which was where the fight was taking place. And he actually saw when the first 3 shots entered her body. At that point, he ran back to his room, woke his 8-year-old brother up, and they both came back to the room. And at that point, Lakhvir was already on the ground, and they're begging their father, please don't hurt mom. Please don't hurt mom. They were actually holding onto his arms. And I don't know if he was blacked out, like he wasn't taking anything in at that time, or he just didn't care. I'm going to go with he just didn't care. And before he fired off the final shot, he kicked her in the stomach and hurled some insults at her, which I'm not exactly sure what they were. We can imagine. And he pulled the gun and the final shot went into her head. In total, she had been shot 7 times. She got shot in the arm, she got shot in the chest, and like I said, the final shot was to her head. When the pathologist did her autopsy, he couldn't even determine which one was the fatal shot. You know, because the 2 to her chest could have been fatal. The 1 to her head definitely, you know, but he couldn't decide. He couldn't figure out. After he had shot her, he actually took the gun and put it in her hands, grabbed his passport, grabbed $2,000, and told the boys, if you tell the police what happened, I'm going to come back and kill you. So with them just witnessing the murder of their mother, of course they believed him. But the 9-year-old eventually called 911 at 5:20. This fight originally started at about 2 a.m. and it escalated until about 5:20. After he left the house, he didn't get very far because he ended up crashing his car into a light pole not too far from the house. The police came to the house. They took the boys. They were put into transit custody. After Jitinder was arrested, it wasn't too long before they put 2 and 2 together, you know, and he was charged with murder, 1st-degree murder. Now, he didn't plead guilty at first. So when it got to the preliminary stages, his 2 sons had to go to court and testify with what they saw. After the courts determined, yes, there's enough evidence to go to trial, when it got to the trial stages, he decided to plead guilty. I believe it was 2nd-degree murder. I'll confirm and put it up on the screen. So he pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree murder. And the boys actually, when it came to sentencing, his sons actually wanted to be in the courtroom. But it was decided it might be too traumatizing. I mean, after they've already seen what they saw. But they weren't allowed into the courtroom. He was sentenced to 25 years with the possibility of parole for 15 years. After or whenever he gets released, he will be deported back to India because he's a permanent resident of Canada. He's not a Canadian citizen. So whenever you commit a serious crime like that, you get deported if you're not a citizen. So he will be deported back to India. Now, not much is known about their relationship, but I'm going to assume that there was abuse prior to this. The police were called to the house several times before. Charges were never laid. There was even one point where the police were called to the house, and when they got there, the house was empty. So I say that to say, ladies, especially right now with the whole corona and the lockdowns and whatever, domestic violence has risen because people are at home a lot longer and frustrations are rising. If you're in a situation like that, there are so many resources out there. And I know it's easier said than done. I know it's easier said than done. Especially when you have kids, you think you want to stay together for the kids. But having children is not a reason to stay in an abusive relationship at all. Because children are not stupid. They pick up on a lot of things. And I'm thinking that she was trying to protect her children. It was already getting to the point, you know, they're getting older. They're seeing a lot of things. They've already exposed to a lot of things, you know, by their father. And she was just trying to be a good wife by taking away his drugs. And this is what ended up happening. You know, she did not deserve this. She did not deserve this. Those boys do not deserve what happened to their mother. They didn't deserve that trauma to actually witness it. They're actually in the care now of a relative of their father. And that's where the story ends. I don't know if they have contact with him. I don't know if they see him. I hope that they're in counseling. I hope that they're in counseling because they will definitely need it. They've now lost 2 parents, you know? And sadly, it's the end of this video. Now, when I do these type of videos, I would love to know more of the backstory, but in this case, there isn't really much, you know, but I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.